You can't blame him on Johnson. He's got to go. He's got to go. And people are sitting there, well, President Trump supports him. Well, hey, President Trump supports him until he doesn't support him.
Welcome to Doug in Exile. Hey, everyone, I haven't showered yet, but the news hit on Mike Johnson. His speakership, the vote is coming up on the 3rd, I believe. That's this Friday.
I'll make up my mind Friday or so when we do the votes. I'll pray about it. I'll talk to the speaker some. I might talk to the president. President Trump is very compelling, though. As I've said earlier, he's the largest dog in the pound.
And it is significant. It's the most significant news happening right now in America. You got to remember the right, over here on the right, in Republican land, it's divided across all these multiple fronts. We just saw this giant battle with Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk doing the H-1B visas and old school MAGA. Old school MAGA lost that one. Trump is going with Elon Musk, Vivek Ramaswamy, David Sachs, all the tech billionaires that are new to our party and frankly fund our whole party. But the truck drivers got burned on this one. Well, now he's throwing a bone to the rhinos because he's taking a stand with Mike Johnson as Speaker of the House. I believe there's a lot of reasons why he's doing it. It's not necessarily that he loves Mike Johnson. We're going to read all this information together and you'll be informed by the end. You'll be all caught up with exactly where we're at right now, not just on Mike Johnson, but on how much power does Trump have? How much is his mandate going to carry even into the first quarter of his presidency? This is Eric Doherty on X says, new, Trump has demanded a vote on the debt ceiling before he takes office January 20th. He also slammed former Speaker Kevin McCarthy for delaying the debt ceiling into the Trump administration. Now, we're going to go into that strategy, but here's the quote that he pulls from the Trump giant quote we're about to read. The Democrats must be forced to take a vote on this treacherous issue now during the Biden administration and not in June. They should be blamed for this potential disaster, not the Republicans. So Trump, though he's not in office, is trying to pull the trigger on something while Biden's in office, this debt ceiling.
So what do you think, Scott? Will this Trump endorsement put him over the top?
I hope so, because the longer Republicans engage in this infighting, the longer it's going to be until we get started on Donald Trump's agenda. I think that's why Donald Trump came out for Mike Johnson so strongly. He wants Republicans to set all of this infighting aside and get focused on passing bills. I think he'd love to sign some bills into law right after he takes the oath of office on January 20th. So if you spend all this time or days fighting over the speaker, you leave less time for getting started on his agenda. So well, I think it's going to be important.
Here's the quote, full quote from Trump. The extension of the debt ceiling by a previous Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy, a good man and a friend of mine, from this past September of the Biden administration to June of the Trump administration will go down as one of the dumbest political decisions made in years. There was no reason to do it. Nothing was gained. And we got nothing for it. A major reason why that speakership was lost, it was Biden's problem, not ours. Now it becomes ours. I call it 1929 because the Democrats don't care what our country may be forced into. In fact, they would prefer depression as long as it hurt the Republican Party. The Democrats must be forced to take a vote on this treacherous issue now, during the Biden administration and not in June. They should be blamed for this potential disaster, not the Republicans. So this is part of the economic disaster that the Democrats are trying to stick on Trump after Biden leaves office. They want it to be as rough for Trump as possible economically, including spending all their money. Now, this leads us to a brand new tweet from Trump, which I'm going to, some of it, this is just frabba jabba, okay? He's laying the groundwork first. But this is on his huge endorsement of Speaker Mike Johnson. Remember, Mike Johnson's getting trouble right now from Thomas Massie.
Mike Johnson has done a good job. Look, anytime the numbers are this close, it's going to be a very difficult job. And there are things that aren't going to go smoothly every single time. And we just have to accept that.
Here's Donald Trump. We are the party of common sense, a primary reason that we won in a landslide the magnificent and historic presidential election of 2024, all 7 swing states, 312 electoral college voters, and the popular vote by millions of voters, Democrat, despite large-scale voter fraud taking place in numerous states, including California, where voters are ridiculously still being counted or under review, all won with ease, calm, and professionalism. Why is he bringing that up? He's trying to remind people who do not want to give him his will as Speaker Mike Johnson. So this is a message to Thomas Massie. Remember Thomas Massie from Kentucky. But Trump's trying to remind him, I got a mandate. I got the majority. It was with ease. It was professional, okay? That is a message to people who might counter his will. So that's why I'm saying this is a question of how much of a mandate does Trump have among the right and among senators. Republicans are being praised for having run a legendary campaign. Democrats are being excoriated for their effort, having wasted $2.5 billion, much of it unaccounted for, with some being used to illegally buy endorsements, $11 million to Beyonce, who never sang a song, $2 million to Oprah for doing next to nothing, and even $500,000 to Reverend Al, a professional con man and instigator who agreed to interview their star-spangled candidates, Kamala and Joe. We ran a flawless campaign, having spent far less with lots of money left over. They ran a very expensive sinking ship embracing DOJ and FBI weaponization against their political opponent, me, but it didn't work. It was a disaster. Let's not blow this great opportunity which has been given us. By the way, all that review of everything about the FBI weaponization, that's what we've been covering for the last year, guys. We're on topic. I'm trying to give you guys the main stuff is the main stuff. Now, given that, I want to show you what Trump is leading up to. He's going, therefore, give me Mike Johnson, is what he's about to say. Here's Steve Bannon going, you got to get rid of this guy.
You can't blame him on Johnson. He's got to go. He's got to go. And people are sitting there where President Trump supports him. Well, hey, President Trump supports him until he doesn't support him.
There's Steve Bannon. President Trump supports him till he doesn't support him. By the way, I would say the same thing about Trump on H-1B visas. He was against it until he was for it. Abortion, same-sex marriage, politicians, they change. And it's not necessarily out of weakness or lying. It's just, people, they're changing their positions. The positions are all in flux right now. And right now, there's a division in MAGA over Mike Johnson. Most of the more conservative hardcore MAGA are against him. And I do positive videos on Mike Johnson every opportunity I can. I get flack in the comments from MAGA, from my people, my brothers and sisters out there going, we don't like Mike Johnson. And Trump just goes like, this is my guy, because I also like Chip Roy. And Trump goes like, Chip Roy? Get him out of here. Now here's Trump's quote. I'm going to ask you guys what you think after this. Here we go. The American people need immediate relief from all of the destructive policies of the last administration. Speaker Mike Johnson is a good, hardworking, religious man. He will do the right thing, and we will continue to win. Mike has my complete and total endorsement, MAGA. Now, I only want to ask you guys, especially ones that are against Mike Johnson, because there's a lot of things I disagree with Trump on. I disagree with him on the H-1B visa thing, but he has a mandate, okay? I'm not saying you're right. I'm saying you have a right, given what you won, to get what you want. Does Trump has a right to his Speaker of the House that he wants, Mike Johnson? Did he win that mandate? Or do states' rights and opposition still play, where MAGA says, get rid of Mike Johnson, Trump, you're wrong on this? And Thomas Massie has a right to counter him and say, I want to screw Mike Johnson out of this thing. Trump, you do not get your way. You're not my boss. That's the divide. Let me know in the comments below what you think. We're going to have a great debate. Be a gentleman out there. We're going to have a great debate right now in the chat.
Johnson's done a good job. The president trusts him. The president won the election, and a lot of Republicans won because of Donald Trump and the agenda he put forward. So what Donald Trump is saying is, get me a speaker that I trust and that I can work with so we can begin to pass my agenda. That ought to be a good enough reason for any member of the House Republican Conference.
Personally, I support Mike Johnson personally, and also I think Trump has a mandate. I'm Doug in Exile.